Thank you, Madam Speaker. Last week I stood before this body as we voted on the first spending package, which, like this package, was enormous, and brought before this House without enough time to learn where the American people's tax dollars are actually going. Today we are considering 6 of the 12 traditional appropriation bills in one package. We must get back to regular order and a process where we can carefully consider and examine each bill, and one that works for the American people. The bills in this package would spend $1.3 trillion in total discretionary spending, a 13.9% increase from the budget that was agreed to. I would once again like to state for the record that the Democratic majority can't even stick to the bipartisan budget that was agreed to last year. The first appropriations package that was passed last week contains $37 billion in emergency measures, and this package adds another $207 billion of such spending. With that addition, according to the Congressional Budget Office estimate, this level of spending is 23.5% higher than the President's request. No business or family in this country would ever dream of spending money like this that they don't have and have no idea where they're going to get it. So why does this body think we are an exception? Unfortunately, that is business as usual for the 116th Congress. My amendment today is simple. It would reduce the total amount of funding for Labor, HHS, and Education Division by 5% for fiscal year 2021. HHS alone is a $1.2 trillion agency. It employs hundreds of lawyers. Without my amendment, the division provides a net total of $222.4 billion in fiscal year 2021 discretionary budget authority. If you do the math, my amendment would cut about $9.8 billion. I urge my Democratic colleagues to support my amendment, since they will still be overspending, but just a little bit less than they initially intended. And I just want to note that I wanted to offer a 5% cut to multiple divisions throughout this bill, but continuing the Democrats' shadowy process, only this one amendment to this bill was ruled in order. We can no longer neglect our national debt crisis, which is at unsustainable heights. It is morally wrong to burden our children and grandchildren with excessive debt because we can't seem to get our act together and exercise fiscal constraint. And let me explain myself like this. How in the world can we create a standard of health care and a standard of living in this country on the backs of our children and grandchildren? We can't pay for it. So what do? We send it to our children and grandchildren, and I don't know how many generations. I urge my colleagues in this body to support my amendment today, and let's start having a serious discussion about how we can once again unleash economic growth in this country by restraining spending. And with that, I reserve.
The gentleman reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from Connecticut seek